Ahoy! Today we're summarizing the 8.1 bonus update changes. A little late, and usually I don't do this for bonus updates, but this one had a lot of changes that I think are quite impactful for the game, so I figured, why not? Let's get right into it. As always, there are beautiful skins. If you want to see more about those, check the patch notes show. We're talking about the changes here, and the first one is to Conduit gem. The MP5 of this item is decreased from 15 to 10, and the magical power is decreased from 30 to 25. This will remain a very strong item, and I've verified as much on PTS that allows you to get a lot of early pressure and has some very nice upgrades, so if you build it before, you're likely building it now. One of the upgrades, Archmage's gem, receives a nerf decreasing the scaling from 2.5% to 2%, so up to a maximum of 40% of your magical power. This doesn't make the item useless on characters like Noah, but makes some other choices more appealing for others. I will get to that in a future in-depth video. The other factor playing into this is a Pendulum of Ages getting a buff at the same time. This is the upgrade for Sense of Time, and it now has a cooldown reduction of 20% instead of 10%. It also provides you with 10 power for 10% of your available mana right now, meaning you can get up to 190 power from this item. This might make it a fair bit more interesting, but you're still giving up early pressure. Manikin Scepter receives multiple nerfs, decreasing the physical protection from 15 to 10, the bonus damage from 16 to 12, but increasing the jungle bonus damage from 3 times to 4 times, so you're not really losing out on clear in the jungle. These stats will likely make it lose value in the jungle, where other alternatives are just better most of the time. We'll have to wait and see if it actually makes a significant difference for solo. In lower levels of play especially, I think it will still remain dominant, especially because it allows for so much more jungle control as well. That's not the only change to solo. Bluestone Brooch now gets 200 health, making it a lot more tanky upgrade, but keep in mind that the base version, the starter itself, is still relatively untanky. Warrior's X no longer provides 2 flat damage reduction, but its health is increased from 50 to 75. This is effectively a nerf in almost every way, which allows you to aggress less on minions and also makes it less of a counter to Bluestone or Manikin. The Sundering X upgrade also no longer has 5 flat damage reduction, though the other stats on this item are still pretty good. The one in solo that's really winning this patch is Warding Sigil, which now provides 10 physical protections. In return, the health is decreased from 100 to 75, but since the item had no physical protection beforehand, this should make it a lot more effective and a lot more valuable against Bluestone, against Manikin, any other kind of multiple instance damage as well. Infused Sigil, the sigil that detonates after taking damage from abilities a few times, will now only require you to get hit by 4 abilities instead of 5 in order to proc, and the detonate damage itself is increased from 400 to 500 magical power. Since you basically have no control over when this item will proc, I would still consider this incredibly niche. The alternative, Sigil of the Old Guard, which provides magical defense as well as mitigation for being hit, now also provides 30 physical protection. Still primarily a magical defense item, but now with a better mix of stats. Warflag and Benevolence both get a price drop, so that all support starters are now 600 gold. Sentinel's Embrace gets its protection aura decreased from 120 to 100, meaning if you're on your own, you also only get 50 each. This is still a very high protection value anyways, so this will likely remain strong. However, Compassion also gets a buff, now providing 40 magical protection, which means any damage that is transferred to you will automatically be reduced further. This is obviously a very interesting synergy, which we'll explore more in the future to discuss how effective this really is. Animosity gets the bonus damage against structures removed. This was very predictable. The item is now definitely a niche item for certain guards that can possibly use it well, whereas with most others, you're probably better off staying away from it. Death Temper, which also gets some bug fixes, now has a range of 80 units for enemies that die to provide its passive. Before this was 30, so you'll get a lot more out of it. How effective it is exactly is yet to be seen. We'll have to do more testing on that one. Rod of Tahuti has its magical power decreased from 160 to 140 after being used by basically everyone. It is probably still decent for the stats, but probably not a must-buy for everyone at this point. Set gets a long-awaited nerf to his Skewer, which reduces the base damage from 85 to 285 to 85 to 265, so more of the top ranks here. And Kingslayer has its healing decreased from 45 to 85 to 35 to 75. Set will very likely still be good after these changes, and they were really necessary. Cupid, after performing very well for a while, also received some nerfs. Hard Bomb going down from 80 to 75% scaling, which means 10% scaling down on the double hit, and his Fields of Love gets a cooldown increase by 10 seconds to 100 seconds. Also likely not a change that will ruin him. I think he'll still be very much viable. If you enjoyed the summary and you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the sub button and maybe the bell. And other than that, I hope to see you for the next one soon. ZiSotto, out.